From Chicago streets to the courts beat, South Scott Dan on the podcast seat. Bulls breaking news, talking stats and views. Every player, every play, we never lose. Horns over hoops, we're the Bulls troop. From game analysis to fan scoop.
What's good, Bulls fans and Horniacs, and welcome back to another episode of the Horns Over Hoops podcast. We are your hosts for the evening, Sal-Bass, Scott Burnham, and Hoodie Dan. Dan.
Yes, sir.
I am just blown away by how incredible that hoodie is. Please show everybody, and I'll narrate for those who aren't watching it. Oh, my goodness. That is perfection on cloth.
If you're just listening, Joakim Noah was wearing a certain sweatshirt on Derrick Rose night with Derrick's face on it. It said GOAT. I found it. I found it online. I'm 99% sure this is a fake from like China or some foreign country because the quality is garbage.
Just in time for the TikTok ban, Dan Gracie's purchasing stuff from China. Right on.
Not Temu, though. I didn't get it from Temu.
Not Temu.
Or Shin. Or whatever it's called.
Was it Shein? I don't know.
I don't know.
Either way, that is an incredible hoodie. I feel like more people need to sell that. Scotty B.
It keeps
I know you're not. Well, it keeps. Well, stop washing your stuff on hot.
I washed this on cold. By the summertime, this thing's going to turn into a crop top. I'm just going to mow the lawn in it.
You better come on the show wearing it. Scotty B, you're not rocking a sweet hoodie, but that's okay. How are you doing all the same?
Fine. No, I don't have a hoodie.
No, but you are rocking a sweet trucker hat. Gentlemen, today's episode is going to be a different one. So before we get into this roller coaster of emotions of an episode, a coworker of mine the other day asked me a really, really interesting question that I just did not have the answer to. It made me do some critical thinking. So I want to hear your thoughts. So a coworker of mine asked me, as you guys know, the Chicago Bulls are retiring Derrick Rose's #1 jersey, right? Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are diehard Bulls fans, you know that Derrick Rose is not the only person that wears #1.
Who else wears
Scott knows it. Oh,
Benny
go ahead
the
and
Bull.
say it, Scott. So that leaves me to ask, what number is Benny the Bull going to wear next year, seeing as though Derrick Rose's jersey is getting retired?
I think he's either going to wear 0 or 00. Like,
he can't wear 0.
Why can't he wear 0?
Kobe White.
I mean, Benny wore #1 when Derrick was on the team.
Yeah, I suppose that's accurate. Scott, what number is he going to wear?
24, one better than Jordan.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah.
Or he could wear 45.
Whoa.
45.
They're about to retire that for my
For
man
Denzel.
Denzel.
DV.
Yeah. While we're in the season of retiring jerseys, put the 45 up there. Do like Jordan and then slash Valentine. I feel like the Bulls fans will riot even more than they already are. I think they should give him number 66.
Oh, because that's when the Bulls were founded. Or joined the NBA.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
Either way. Fans, what do you think? What number will Benny the Bull wear next season after they retire his jersey? Or do you think he'll continue to wear #1? But in any sense, fellas, we stink. Not us per se, not us as a person.
I didn't take a shower.
Probably smell very well.
Damn.
Well, then, Dan, you stink.
I
Me
put
and Scott are
deodorant
probably-
on still.
Okay, well, you don't stink then. But the Chicago Bulls, in fact, do stink. So as I warned you guys before, this is going to be kind of a depressing, different episode, but it's still going to be great. We're going to talk the downfall of the Bulls, and we're also going to be talking about how we feel can really improve this team. Of course, the main idea as you're reading the title of this is why the Bulls need to rebuild. and we will break down today how a rebuild is not only necessary, but it may not be as painful as people think. So if you guys are ready, let's jump into this episode by doing our usual status of the Bulls so far. So, gentlemen, as a whole, the Chicago Bulls are 18-24. We're 4-6 in the last 10 games, and we are currently sitting at 10th in the Eastern Conference, still in reach of that play-in spot. And we currently lost 4 games in a row. I think that's one of the most games that they've lost in a row while we're doing this reporting. And I'll throw a bonus stat in there for you guys. The Chicago Bulls are 8-15 at home. Of course, I got to witness one of those losses.
That 4-game lose streak, wasn't that all at home too?
3 of them were at home. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where the other one was, but the 3 of them were. I think they're on a 5-game homestead. So yeah, they might have all been at home. So, gentlemen, the Bulls have been lousy. Tell me, why are the Bulls so bad right now?
Coaching, roster construction, pretty much everything under the sun. There's no player development happening with our young guys. I mean, just literally like pretty much everything under the sun is wrong with this team.
Yeah. Scotty B, what's wrong with this team?
Can I blame Patrick Williams getting 25 minutes and Bruce Ellis getting 4 for some reason?
Yeah.
A guy that's actually showing that he can play is not getting any minutes.
Yeah.
Patrick Williams is quite possibly one of the worst players in the NBA right now. Our inability to not turn the ball over. Like, there's at least 4 or 5 times a game we're just stepping out of bounds, which I just don't see any other team doing that. It's like, why do we keep stepping out of bounds? How's that a thing? It's terrible. We can't guard the paint. We can't guard the perimeter. And no one can. We take a lot of bad contested shots for no reason. Zach LaVine, if he doesn't have the ball, he's literally just standing in the corner. So, but there's plenty of reasons why we suck. We don't feed Vooch down low for some reason. Last game, he scored 40 points because we fed him down low. Half the time we just don't give him the ball. Kobe still thinks he's what he was last year and thinks he should shoot 10 threes a game, and he makes maybe 2 of them. So there's plenty of reasons why we suck. Io was hurt.
Yeah.
Zoe, the best player on our team, probably. Like,
he is
all around player on our team, plays half the games. And when he is playing, he can play 20 minutes. So all good reasons. I mean, those are all pretty much spot on. I'm going to piggyback off of Scott when I say what's hurting this team is regression. The Bulls are starting to look like the same team that they were at the start of last season, where we were turning the ball over repeatedly. We're making bad passes, non-fundamental basketball plays where we're stepping out of bounds or not guarding the open shooter. It's like we've regressed back to what we were back then. So I don't think that it is one particular player as much as it is the team as a whole. I think that we are starting to become a sinking ship, and I think the only way to fix this is to shake things up a bit. But I know I just mentioned there's not a single player to blame. Are you guys putting the blame on any one particular player as a whole? I'm not, like, you know what I mean? Not just one player as in they messed up this game.
Dalen Terry's fault.
Don't mention Dalen Terry. Scott's going to get worked up. Actually, get Scott worked up. I love Scott when he's
I'm doing it. I don't think it's any one player.
I hate Dalen Terry with a passion. Every time he comes on the floor, he's going to get. I think it was the Wizards game. He was literally on the court for 30 seconds, got 2 personal fouls and a turnover. 30 seconds.
That's his game.
Hey, man, you got 6 fouls. You got to use them.
That's his game.
I guess.
You got to think, what does he play, like 12, 15 minutes? If he gets 6 fouls. I mean, 2 fouls in 30 seconds. Like he can get the other 4.
No, it's not just one player. It's every single player is doing this shit. Like, how often are we getting turnovers on fast breaks too?
Mhm.
Very often.
Yeah, it's terrible. Every player is the issue, but also it's bad coaching because fundamentals aren't coached anymore.
Yeah. So don't we have the same record as last season?
We're now worse than last season.
Okay. So this team is...
a few games ago we had the exact same record. Now we're worse. So, Dan, who do you blaming?
I'm blaming the front office and Billy for building this team. Billy mainly also for like Scott said, not playing Bruce Ellis as much. Like, if we are tanking, then at least play the rookie, give him experience, let them grow as players, because that's something we've seen regress from Pat. Pat's getting worse this season. You can make the case that maybe Kobe is too. Like, all these players that have been on the team since the AK era, they seem to be regressing outside of our stars, obviously, but everyone seems to be getting worse. So, like, I seriously think they need to strip it down at this point. Strip it down, keep Bruce Ellis, get a new coach, get a player developing coach or something. Trade Zach to any team that will take him. Any team. I don't care at this point. Any team that will take Zach, have him. Trade Vooch to the Warriors. Trade Kobe. Kobe's a dime a dozen in this league as a 2 guard. Get some size as well. And just build. I'm not saying build around Bruce Ellis, but like, go all in on the youth movement and try to get a coach that will actually develop these players.
Yeah, very solid point. Very solid point. I also, I said, I alluded to it earlier. I also don't think there is a single player to blame as much as it is the team as a whole just playing like absolute garbage. From the top to the bottom, coached like garbage, playing like garbage. It's almost another Linkin Park song there. Yeah. But if I was to single one player out, not to say that he's to blame for the majority of our regression, but he has kind of stuck out as far as the player that we've noticed the most regression. I mentioned it on the UK episode that I was featured on, which if you hadn't listened to that, head over to their page. Don't forget, like their page, comment, subscribe to everything. Listen to the episode that they were very, very nice to have me featured on. Side note, it's good to see them back. You know, it was kind of heartbreaking when they said they were going to take a step back. Of course, those who follow them know the real reason why they had to take a step back. But it's good to see them back, and I'm still very grateful that they featured me on their show. It's a great episode. I really enjoyed being on that show. Turning it back to the player who I single out the most, it's going to be Patrick Williams, because Patrick Williams seems like he is a body. And as you know, like, there are players in this league that you utilize as just a body. They either come off the bench, they get their fouls, they get their couple points, and that's it. But Patrick Williams is a starter. He is a starting power forward who is selected 4th overall. And this man has shown nothing but regression since probably after his rookie year. I'd say he showed a little uptick where he brought his points per game up to about 10.2 points per game. But since then, he's tallied down. He's afraid to take the shot. He takes shots he shouldn't be taking. He can't finish at the rim. I mean, defense, he's starting to sag back on defense. Yeah, he used to be that guy that was like the elite defender that you can throw a superstar on him and they'll still get the best of him, but Patrick will hold his own. We don't see that anymore. And I'm I don't dislike any Bulls player by any stretch of the imagination, but I will say, and I'll ask your guys' opinion here. Is it time to part ways with Patrick Williams? Has it been time? And if so, what do you think a return on a Patrick Williams will be?
I think it's time to depart with him, but I think we're going to be in the Zach LaVine situation once again with him because, again, this front office just doesn't make sense to me. They gave him $90 million, and then recently, sometime this week, they made him supposedly he's available for a trade. This doesn't make you're not going to get any offers for Pat at $90 million. So I think it's time to part with him, but I don't see us getting rid of him anytime soon.
Yeah. Scott?
One big stat you guys have not talked about is Patrick Williams' inability to get a rebound. Dude is a power forward. He's played 32 games this year. I just looked this up. 17 of those games, he's had 3 rebounds or less. That's 53% of his games. A power forward has had 3 rebounds. How is that acceptable? Like,
it shouldn't be.
It blows my mind that a power forward can get. He's had like 4 games with 0 rebounds.
Yeah,
that's absolutely insane to me. And it's
I don't think he's supposed like I don't think he's supposed to play the 4. I feel like he's more.
He's not. He was drafted as a small forward.
He's naturally a 3. Well, then he played. Yeah. He played a 3 when his rookie year, right?
He was drafted as a small forward, so he was not a power forward. We kind of tried to force him into the stretch 4. So, well, here's the thing: he's a power forward. He's got no excuse because our starting point guard is 6'8", a couple inches shorter than him, and is grabbing and averaging more rebounds than him, and that's Josh Giddey. So I absolutely love that take. Yeah, what is he averaging? You say 3?
I counted 17 games where he's done under 3 or under. So I think he's at 3.8. But I'm looking at our starting power forward or small forward, Zach LaVine, averaging 5 rebounds a game.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter that he's not supposed to be there. Every single starter is averaging more rebounds than him. He's also, everybody was like passive Pat. He's taking more shots this year than ever before. He just can't hit anything. He thinks he's a 3-point shooter. He can't guard anybody.
Yeah.
The Bulls think they're a 3-point team.
Yeah. Also, part of the reason they couldn't put him on the trade block is because they just signed him, they had to wait till the 15th, I think.
January.
Yeah, January 15th before they could trade him. But no one's going to want him.
90. Why give him $90 million and then place him on the block?
They had to do it.
Part of it's they did, but they didn't. They could have just let him walk. And guess what? I think our team wouldn't have been any different.
Yeah.
No, but that's also the stubbornness of the front office because, like I said, he was drafted 4th overall. It was AK's first top 5 overall pick. So the last thing they want to do is admit that they botched the very first important pick they've ever been handed. So they've trying to squeeze the juice and the life out of them.
Every first round pick,
with the exception of their second rounders. Second rounders. And
so far Bruzelas.
And I will give
from what the little we have seen from Bruzelas.
The one good thing about Patrick Williams, we're paying him $18 million. In 2 years, that's going to be kind of pretty close to a mid-level exception contract. Like
in a couple of years,
the salary cap's going up so fast that it's not going to look like a bad contract soon. But no one's going to trade for him. Can we trade him to China? Like, there's some NBA players that are playing over there that we could probably
trade him for the TikTok rights back.
I was about to say we'll trade Patrick Williams for TikTok. Rest in peace, TikTok.
No, we're not going to get anything for him. We're not going to make a single trade. Stop. We need to stop thinking we're going to make a trade. If we do make a trade, we're going to get 2 second rounders for like Vooch, and AK is going to be super excited about that. Really, AK and Mark Eversley need to be fired. They've built a shitty team for 5 years now. They are terrible at drafting. They do not, all they do is pick up like bench players in the free agency. We talked about it last episode. No one wants to come here because management is terrible.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're not wrong.
Thanks.
Yeah, well,
there's a
that's
lot
the
of
thing.
issues with the team. It's not just one person, but
No, I'm glad you touched on that because I didn't mean to pick on one person or one player in particular. But as you're watching the games, there are those games where we look like we're with it, and then the next game we have kind of an off game. But there are players on this team that even when we're having a good game, they still have an off day, and that would be so far Patrick Williams. So by no means are we picking on him, but we do got to call out the negatives when we see them. And positives, I'm sorry, I haven't seen much positives from Patrick Williams. Okay, I'll give it to him as well. I this is very unfair of us. He has had a wrist injury that could have affected his shooting. We're not athletes, we don't know, but he has not been the same since he's come back from that wrist injury. But an argument against that is also that his stats have progressively gone down. You know what I mean? Wrist injury or not, his stats have still gone down over the years. So, but enough about the negatives. Gentlemen, let's get happy. Let's get happy. Let me see you smile.
No.
Okay. Okay. Jeez. What a retort. But let's move on to getting happy. And what do you gentlemen think would help turn this team around? And let me start off with this segment, trades. What trades do you think we can do that are obtainable? None of this trade Javon Carter for Anthony Edwards type stuff, but what realistic trades do you foresee happening or could help this team win? Go ahead, Dan.
Well, I do think, especially since he dropped that 40 piece, I think Vooch saw the writing on the wall, like, oh, we're going to lose this game. I need to get the fuck out of here. Give me the ball. I'm about to go off and build up my trade value. So I think Vooch will be traded. I'm hoping to the Warriors. I want the Warriors to get him. I want to see Steph get like one more ring before he calls it good. I'm hoping that Zach gets traded. Like I said earlier, I don't care where he goes. I kind of hope he gets to go to like Detroit so we get some youth back, or Orlando, because I know that they need scoring. I think Kobe might be traded. Like I said earlier, he's a player that's like a dime a dozen. Like you can find a Kobe White pretty much anywhere. Like even Senzo is the same kind of player as Kobe. The Warriors have that one rookie that they're really high on. He reminds me of Kobe. So Pat Connaughton reminds me of Kobe. Just, small two guards that can score or drive. So yeah, get rid of him because we will find someone like him again. I don't know for who, but yeah, I would strip this team down, start over, go full in on the youth movement, fire Billy.
I kind of agree with Dan. He wanted to show that he can still be that guy that can score 40 points if needed, and you can rely on him. Zach's been showing it all year. I think those are the two biggest pieces that we are going to be trying to push. I think we're going to get dog shit in return for him. We're going to get a bunch of second round picks and then a player that has potential but hasn't worked out. We're not going to get anything. There's no trade that actually helps our team in the next 2 years that we're going to get. It's not like we're going to get Anthony Edwards, like what happened, or who's the guy on Donovan Mitchell. We're not going to do a trade like what the Cavs did with Donovan Mitchell. That's not going to happen. We're going to get a player that they basically been in the league for a year or two.
We're going to get like Ben Simmons or some shit.
Yeah. You know what we should be really doing is there's so many rookies this year that don't get time because the team's so stacked. I would love to see if we can get one of those players. I don't know if that's even allowed to trade a rookie like that, but if that's possible, like Reed Shepherd, he doesn't get any time. Why not try to make a move for him?
Lakers won't. They won't do that.
I don't think he's on the Lakers.
Fairly certain. Reed
Who am I
Shepherd, I
thinking
believe,
of?
is on the Houston Rockets.
Yeah.
But
What white guy am I thinking of that's on the Lakers?
Connect.
Austin Reeves.
Connect is the one, not Austin
Yeah.
Reeves.
I do want to talk about the Lakers. LeBron
You
is the
gonna
reason the Lakers
apologize
suck.
now?
No. LeBron is the reason the Lakers are not good. That team plays so much better when LeBron is not on the floor. Like every single player on that team plays so well together when he's not the focus of I need the ball.
Yeah, the Lakers will be back once LeBron finally retires. I think the pressure of playing with LeBron as well affects the players. So once
they're scared of getting traded.
Well, he's the CEO.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited. Gentlemen, keep the Lakers in mind because I want to revisit them later on in the show because I'm going to be implementing a new segment on this show. It's called our Bullpen Hot Take Question of the cast. And one of the Lakers correlate with the question that I'm going to ask you guys. So keep that in mind.
Okay.
But yeah, if we're talking about realistic trades that I could see the Bulls making as far as helping them, like as in what would you guys see would help them? Trade Vooch, get draft assets, or in typical Chicago Bulls fashion, trade Vooch for expiring contracts so that maybe we can find that player in the free agency next year that could kind of help us out if we're not fortunate enough to get the draft pick back from San Antonio. The Warriors trade with Vooch, I think that's probably the best scenario for both parties because you can trade Vooch to the Warriors. They have a couple players there with expiring contracts. I believe Gary Payton and Moses Mooney both have expiring contracts. I would not mind that trade. I would like, however, if we do not get a bigger, I want to say bigger name, but a volatile player in exchange, I would like to see some sort of draft pick in return, not just a clear and cut salary dump. You guys had mentioned Zach. I'm going to be very honest with you. Where a part with Zach is imminent, it's not necessary at this point. I would say keep him this year, see how he plays with a full healthy season, and see if you can get rid of him next year. Because the one thing plaguing Zach LaVine is he's injury prone and he makes a lot of money. But if I'm a team that sees that Zach LaVine comes out and is averaging the numbers he is and has a full healthy season, I'm going to be a little bit more invested in him. So I'm going to say for this year, I would argue to keep Zach and see what we can get next year, or just let him write out the rest of his contract. Lonzo Ball, if we can find a trade for him, fine. He's not going to get traded. He's damaged. I don't want to say he's damaged goods. He comes with injury. He comes with an expiring contract. No team is going to want to trade for that. Kobe White, I'll be very honest with you. Like you guys said, Kobe's a dime a dozen. How many teams are going to be knocking down the door for Kobe White? If the shooting guard is such a basic position now that everyone shoots threes, who's going to be calling us for Kobe White? I'm not saying there's not going to be any offers, but I'm saying why would anyone have such high interest in Kobe White if the shooting guard position is so flat nowadays? Who else is there? Giddey, I say Giddey will be back. And I say the only trade that I would see is see if you can shop Patrick Williams around and get a bench player so that we can move Pat into the bench and slide Matas up into the starting position. Again, what do we have to lose? I know it's a little too early, but again, what do we have to lose?
I have this weird feeling that like when if Pat gets traded, he'll be really good on the next team he goes to, because that's kind of like what happens to former Bulls that they kill it on Whatever team they go to.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, man, because like I said on the UK cast, I don't dislike Patrick Williams as a person. I always want what's best for these players. You know, even
Yeah.
if they're bad on our team, I still want them to have a full, healthy 10+ year season, retire, and just enjoy their once in a lifetime opportunity to play in the NBA, something that very few people have had. However, if it's not working on our team, let's just do what's
Get the
best.
fuck out.
Beth, let's just do what's best for both of us and part ways. That's all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's do what's
Yeah.
best for both parties and not hold
Yeah.
anybody
I mean-
back. Now, as part of options to help this team out, do any of you guys have any eyes on a particular draft pick that stands out that would help this team out? Obviously, everyone wants Cooper Flag, everyone wants Ace Bailey, but I'm going to say it on wax here, and this is going to piss some people off. I don't want Cooper Flag. Dan, do you know
I wouldn't
anybody?
mind Cooper Flag.
Yeah.
I mean, you pretty much said the two players that I want. I mean, I just want a top 5 pick. That's all I really want. You know, like I know that this draft class is stacked. I haven't really like took a deep dive into the class or anything, but I know the two players that you just said are, you know, not 1 and 2 in the draft. So obviously I want one of those guys. I think Cooper Flag would help the Bulls. I mean, he brings size.
Yeah.
So I don't see how that could really hurt us. But yeah, I mean, if we are tanking, then can we just see some player development from our young guys? That's all I really want.
Yeah. Scott, who do you want? And I'll give you who I pick.
It's such a guard heavy draft at the front that I don't know. We're not going to get Cooper Flag, Ace Bailey, and Dylan Harper. We're not going to get. Also, Rutgers is a dog shit team, and I don't get how they're so bad with those two players on the team. The kid from Illinois, I forgot his name, Yaka Chonas, I think. I would absolutely take him because he played in EuroLeague for a while.
Scott loves his Illinois guys.
Dude played in Illinois for the EuroLeague for a couple of years, so he knows how to do that. It seems like those players that have played in EuroLeague come over here and are way better than what all these freshmen or kids that just played like AAU basketball. So,
well,
there's a center out of Duke that's pretty good. There's power forward out of Georgia that's pretty good.
Yes,
but
try to pronounce his last name.
Newell. Is that who you're talking about?
Asa Newell.
Yeah.
Oh, Asa Newell.
Yeah.
Yeah, Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, Georgia.
No, the guy from Duke. His name is like Kaman Maluak.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of good players, but it doesn't matter who we get. None of these players are going to be a game changer when the rest of the team is dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows?
Well, I'm looking at a mock draft from NBADraft.net, and currently it says that we're projected to get the 9th pick, and the guy we're getting is Igor Demin from BYU.
No idea who that is. I don't follow. I haven't followed much college sport, mainly just because this early it's too hard to tell, because there's going to be a lot of these players on these lists that you see that are going to be returning back to their teams. I really only pay attention to them if I see like senior or junior and they're higher up in the ranks, because they're most likely to come out.
Well, I feel like you don't really know until March Madness, because that's when
very true.
Draft stocks jump up and everything, or drop down.
Very true. Very, very true. I agree 100%. I think for me, there's only 2 real players that I want. One of which is just a certainty. The other one is because of the size. And that is, number one, obviously the ultimate prize would be obtaining Ace Bailey. He's a small forward. We can move Buzelis to power forward and have a complete lineup of whoever our center is if we trade Vooch, Buzelis,
Sticks.
Ace Bailey, Zach at the 2, and Josh Giddey at the 1. And, whoever our center is, I'm sure we'll pick up a center. Okay. I like that. Number 2 would be this, and this will be the most easiest and probably makes sense solution. And that is if we get the guy I just mentioned. Again, I apologize. I'm going to butcher his name. Kaman Maluak, guy 7'2". There's one thing that the Bulls never had is size. So bringing in a 7'2" center and actually building around a new center, as far as developing a new center, I think it would be very paramount. You have him at center. I'm sorry, gentlemen. You're going to have Patrick Williams at power forward, Buzelis at small forward, Zach and Giddey. So I would want to see one of those 2 players.
It's the man from Sudan.
South Sudan. Yeah. And it's another, I believe he's from Duke as well, right, Scott?
He plays at Duke.
So
yeah. I wonder if he knows Lou.
Those are like personally, like they share each other.
Well,
they text each other.
Because I'm looking at his profile online, and for high school it just says NBA Academy Africa, and I know that Lou Deng does a lot of stuff over there, so I'm wondering, like, is he a product of Lou Deng?
Okay,
that's what I was
very
saying.
very valid point. I withdraw my condescension. Very valid point. Very valid point. And then, fellas, the other option I have here is coaching change. I'm going to let you guys know Billy's not getting fired. You guys know that. We know that. Sure. I hope Chicago fans crawl out of their happy hole and start realizing that he's not leaving. And I'll mention why later. But if the planets align, do you think that a coaching change would be necessary if we revamp this roster a little bit?
Yes.
Okay. Short answer. I like it. Scott?
We need a front office change also. Just tear it all down.
Mm-hmm. Ship it down.
Okay. Billy absolutely needs to be fired because he's not a good coach. He's not an NBA coach. Mm-hmm. But we'll end up, we'll do something dumb. We'll fire him and then get like Mike Woodson. Woodson.
Mike Brown.
Mike Brown?
Mike Woodson.
That idiot. Yeah, no. Oh, yeah, Mike Brown, or it's the Indiana basketball coach right now.
Oh, I don't know. I don't follow college. I should. I don't. I didn't go to college. Kids
no,
go to college.
Mike Woodson. Yeah, Mike Woodson.
Don't ever second guess yourself.
You guys know him. No, yeah, Mike Woodson. He used to be the Knicks coach.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's you don't hear every day.
That's what I thought you were talking about. I had to see him and be like, oh, okay, that guy.
Yeah. Yep. So.
Yeah, his super thick goatee.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, he's terrible.
Yes. Now I know who he is. Okay. Yes. Now you're ringing bells.
When I said terrible, you got it.
No, the thick goatee. Then I got it. Dude, there's some coaches that you know who they are. There's some people, both professionally and on a civilian level, you know who they are by their facial hair. You know what I mean? Scott, you're starting to become one of those people with your facial hair. Little smirk there. All right, gentlemen. Moving on to our main topic, what everyone has been hanging out ready to hear, and that is our reasoning why the Chicago Bulls need to do a rebuild. We're going to lead off with just the current status of the team with roster and why success is not possible given the current roster. Dan Gracie, I'll ask you your reasons first.
You want my reasons for why we suck?
I want your reasons why, given the current roster, success is not possible.
Success isn't possible because this is a poorly constructed roster. They're asking the players to do things that they're not good at, like shoot threes. The only true 3-level scorer we have is Zach. We don't have size, so we can't really get rebounds. Our leading rebounders are guards. Just playing players out of position. Too much small ball, like that goes into size again. Lack of, like I keep saying this throughout the episode, I'm going to keep saying it. Lack of player progression. Like it's Billy's and the front office fault. Like this team is their fault. Full stop. Like there's so many things wrong with this team. Like we can't shoot, we can't play defense. We kind of need to do those two things in order to win games. The players we had, like for a good 2 years ago, or even last season, half the team was checked out, and we had a player only meeting after the first game. Just they need to break this team up, because this team has been together too long, and we've seen little to nothing from them.
Yeah. All good reasons. Scott Berman, why is a rebuild necessary given this current roster?
Have you watched them? Like
Inconsistent.
The team has
every game.
Yeah, it's. We said it at the beginning of the year or beginning of the episode. We've had the same record for 3 years in a row. Why would you not blow it up? Like, obviously, it's not working. I'm kind of thinking back to like the Derrick Rose era. There was players coming off the bench that we were excited they're coming off the bench. Like, oh yeah, they're going to bring some energy. They're going to bring some scoring. Can you say that now? Like, you can say that with Io.
Zoe is the only one. Zoe and Io are the only
and
two.
Buzelis.
Yeah, but like you could say Kyle Korver's going to come into the game. You're expecting them to hit score 15 points.
Yep.
Can you say that with anybody coming off the bench? Taj Gibson.
No.
You can't say that. Like, it's built so terribly. The bench is built so terribly that it's like you get people they come into the game, and then we start getting blown out because the bench is so sloppy. The starters, Patrick Williams isn't starting on any team. I don't think Giddey's starting on any team. Like, you put Giddey on a contender, he's not starting.
No.
There's a reason why the Thunder got rid of him. Like, the Thunder literally got rid of him, and they are the best team in the league right now.
Yep.
So, I would say Zach and Vooch will be the only starters on teams. Just partially, center is such a bad position. Like, there's not as many dominant centers, and Zach is obviously one of the most efficient players in the league right now. But you absolutely have to blow it up. It didn't work. We haven't drafted well. We wasted way too many picks on bad trades. And it's just, you have to blow everything up starting from upper management, because like I just said, dog shit drafting, bad free agency pickups. Like, our big free agency pickup this year was THT. Before that, Caruso was a great pickup.
Jalen Smith.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
But again, Jalen Smith isn't a starting caliber player.
Yes, I agree.
Like, we're not getting starting caliber players. We're getting bench players, and that's it. Like, players that teams don't care about. Like, did the Pacers really even try to get Jalen Smith back?
I don't
know.
See,
I know we signed Jalen Smith pretty early in the offseason, so.
Yeah.
So it's not like we got in a bidding war or anything. We're not going after these big name free agents. We're going after just like, let's pick up players. And even Jalen Smith, they're not playing him. He's getting maybe 10 minutes a game. Like, The only big guy off our bench, we're just not playing him. We saw it last year with Drummond. He just wouldn't get in the game. And when he did get in the game, he got 10 rebounds. It's
And then
like
he just
Billy
and
doesn't
then he
understand
left.
how to
He didn't want to come
play.
back.
Yeah, and he didn't want to come back because Billy doesn't understand how to play to the player's strengths. There's just
Right.
so blow it up. AK needs to be gone. Billy needs to be gone. There's no reason to keep a guy that has never had a winning record.
I'm really starting to think that Billy might be like truly insane. Because if you if you look at the definition of insanity, it is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. And we've had the same team for so long with minor tweaks, sure. But I mean, we keep falling in the same patterns. We keep falling at the same placing in the Eastern Conference. We keep falling out of the play-in. Like, it's just the Bulls are just redundant, and it's hard being a Bulls fan, seeing this for so long. And then on top of it, now that they added the CHSN bullshit where you can barely watch a game if you are a fan. So like,
Glad you mentioned that.
If Jerry's goal is to like pull a Supersonics about this team, then he's doing a great job.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a hard time doing that because the Sonics, we have something the Sonics didn't have, and that's sellout stadiums. But
we're fourth
as
now.
far as
we're at fourth, usually we're one.
Yeah, but we're not
there's no
30th.
way-
I think once we fall,
There's absolutely no way that they'll let a team leave Chicago.
No, I know. I'm just
No,
saying because the way the Sonics went
think he's
out,
saying the angle.
tank the team. Yeah,
the angle. But no, I don't think. I mean, sure, okay. As far as rebuild is concerned, I'm gonna take the emotion down. My co-hosts are fired up. I'm gonna take the energy level down a little bit. Why a rebuild is absolutely necessary given this current roster is because you have an unhealthy balance of talent on this team, ranging from all ages and all sorts of health concerns. At this point, Vooch needs to go. You cannot move forward with Vooch. Vooch has now become that piece that moves to a team that helps propel them into championship contention. Zach, this late in his career, is way too late to rebuild around him. He's given his injury prones. He's going to become, in the next few years, the player exactly like Vooch is. He goes to a team where he can help put them over the hump. Okay. You cannot have a successful franchise with them on the team. And then, like you guys mentioned, the bench is essentially lottery picks and second rounders. Like, who's our best player off the bench that you would argue? I'm going to say Jalen Smith.
Zoe.
Who would you guys say?
Zoe or Io?
Zoe. Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't. Okay, let me just say on okay, Io. I'm sorry, I withdraw that. Io. I'm going to say on record, I do not consider Lonzo Ball a bench player. That's why I'm not even including him in this. Lonzo Ball is a starter. The reason why he's coming off the bench is given his injury history. And I also think that the Bulls know he's not part of our future, and Giddey is, and that's why Giddey's getting the nod over Zoe, because when it's all said and done, one of them is going to be staying. It's not going to be Lonzo Ball. But anyway, there's a mishmash of all different types, and there's no direction. One thing that we've been saying all year, this team has no direction. So why is a rebuild necessary? Okay, you hit the reset button and you finally rebuild around one player, and it gives you the freedom to play a game I like to call plug and play. You throw this player in there 1 year, he doesn't work, get rid of him. And in that time, you will see progression. But if you continually try to fill roster spots with half-ass names just for the sake of putting butts in seats, you're never going to get ahead. Okay, I can understand why Chicago Bulls fans don't want a rebuild. It's because after we're going on 30 years of not having a championship and being so close in the 2010s, that a rebuild now, we're just anxious to win. And I respect that about us. But the only way to really win is to do it again. Why did we have so much success in 1990s and in the 2010s? Because we drafted an anomaly of a player. Okay. And what happened the years before that? The Bulls were in rebuild mode. The Bulls weren't always great. Like, you know what I mean? The Bulls didn't just happen to win in the 90s. They drafted anomaly players. Again,
they're trying to jumpstart this rebuild when AK first got here to make the Bulls relevant, and it just backfired in the worst way. And this is a result of trying to I don't know what the word
piece together a team. Like we'll call it Frankenstein a team.
Yeah.
Just put random parts in there and hope it works. That works if you're acquiring players that are top 5, top 10 at their position in the league and putting them together, much like a Miami Heat. That's not going to work for a lowly franchise with just random semi on the decline players. Okay. Again, the coincidence between the 90s and the 2010s and why we had so much success is both of our superstars on those teams were drafted by the Bulls. Michael Jordan had Scottie Pippen. Derrick Rose had Joakim Noah. That's why those teams had so much success, because they were drafted anomaly homegrown talents. Okay. But before then, they didn't broadcast the piles of crap that the Bulls had to go to get to that level. We just so happened to be coming up to that pile of crap now. Okay. Bulls fans, just accept a rebuild, let it sink in. And when will we start to see success? 5 years? 5 years of maybe. It's kind of like,
who knows?
Well, no, 5 years. 5 years of an actual rebuild, not 5 years of we might be good.
If you're doing it the right way, then
doing it right way.
Doing it the right way.
What did the Ricketts say when they went to the Chicago Cubs? We're gonna have 3 years where we suck, and then we're gonna stop sucking, right? Was it the Ricketts?
Yeah. And then
what ended up happening? Yeah, well,
they did win.
That's neither here nor there. They won a World Series.
Yeah,
okay?
And now they don't want to spend money. And
well, that goes into the question coming up
of why is Chicago a poverty skitty for sports teams?
Close. You wouldn't be. You would not.
It's a great question.
You are.
Why is every owner in Chicago terrible?
But anyway, I'm the rebuild. I'm done with the rebuild. Again, Bulls fans, just embrace a rebuild. Just have fun with watching this team rise from the ashes and birth a new team. Pick one player. I'm going to say Matas. Build around Matas, and just be excited when you see him on the court.
Real quick, I don't know if I've asked this in the past, but is it fair to say that we took Garpax for granted at this point?
100%. Just look 100%. At the draft difference. Look at the draft difference. And
I was just thinking about the draft difference, the roster construction, just the coaching was not the best. You know, outside of Tibbs. Tibbs is the
Tom Thibodeau
in the whole,
yeah.
But yes,
he was
100%.
the only good coach we had. But
100%.
Like Gar Forman went down to the Pelicans, and I thought they put together a decent roster, but everybody got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
By the way, we better be going for Zion.
Zion
in free agency. I don't care that he's injury prone. Go for Zion.
No.
But no,
I don't know.
Actually, I do want to talk about Zion because part of the reason that I think the NBA ratings are down, there is no American face of the NBA, and that was supposed to be Zion Williamson. That was the guy, the flashy player. Like, he was supposed to be what Blake Griffin was doing, like all the dunks and just dominating.
But he can shoot too.
Yeah, exactly. Zion Williamson should have been the face of the NBA, but because he went down to New Orleans and just sat and ate beignets all day and that gumbo, he got fat and got hurt. But I think him moving will help him out. I don't know if Chicago is a good spot for him because the food's so good.
I do think that
Yeah, we had
he
good
doesn't
food.
want to be. I do think that he doesn't want to be in New Orleans because I saw that the reason why he was suspended was because he kept showing up late to practices, and then like he was an hour late to something else. So like, or no, to missing the bus or something. He missed the bus. So yeah, I think that Zion just wants out. I think he's just doing it in a immature way, but he's young. He'll figure it out. I mean, I think he also needs to get like a personal assistant to keep him on track with his weight and all of his bad habits that he keeps running into. But yeah, I think he'll figure it out somewhere else, just anywhere but New Orleans.
I really think he'd be fine in Chicago. And I would
He
love
might be
Brandon Ingram
fine.
too.
I think he might be okay in Chicago just because it's a bigger market. Because didn't he want to go to New York?
I think so.
So like New York's fine. They don't need him at all. But if you want to join a major market, the Bulls are available. I don't want him, but be better than what we have now, probably.
Why don't I'm looking at his last game. He played 24 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists. Why would you not want that? Three blocks.
How many games has
10.
he played this season?
10.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
That's why I don't want him.
Here's the thing.
70 games last year.
Yeah, he played a fairly healthy season, but here's the thing. Do you want to rebuild or start a rebuild of a franchise around another injury-prone player?
That's what I'm
who
saying.
Now has established himself. Forget about if he was right or wrong. He's established himself as having an attitude problem. Poor conduct towards the team. That's not somebody that I want representing Chicago basketball. Stats aside, look, what do they tell you about relationships? Okay, hear me out. What do they tell you about relationship? If somebody makes a mistake for you, they're going to make them, or if somebody made a mistake for somebody else, they're going to treat you the same way on your team. So just as easy as he's having all these attitude problems because he's not happy in New Orleans, you're going to see that in Chicago. But now it's going to come at the price of a higher price tag. And me personally, as much as I'd love to see Zion Williamson in a Bulls jersey, I would have loved to have seen that a couple years ago. Not when we're knocking on the door of a necessary rebuild. Is he a phenomenal athlete when he's healthy and happy? 100%. If I could get a guaranteed Zion Williamson is happy, healthy, and will just put his best foot forward and be a leader in the locker room with the Bulls, absolutely I would take a gamble on him. But right now, no. He just
Scott,
I throw him.
Go ahead. You can,
Scott.
oh, okay. No, I was gonna say the American face of the league is Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, I was gonna.
I think it was supposed to be Zion, but like it ended up being Ant.
But
because Ant
no one talks about him because he's in Minnesota.
That's true.
Like,
well, no one would talk about Zion because he's in New Orleans.
No, but
but they know
you say that until you have like a high end dunker. Like the league doesn't have that. Like Donovan Mitchell and Anthony Edwards are the best two players. Like people don't really talk about Cleveland as much as they should. That Cleveland team may be one of the best teams in NBA history, and no one really talks about them. And
I think Joakim Noah for that.
No, I really hope that team wins. Like I know we're not supposed to root for. I guess the NBA doesn't really matter. Like we don't have rivals.
The Bulls don't have rivals.
Oh, you talk about like divisions?
Yeah, like I hope Cleveland.
If you're a Lakers fan and hoping for the Celtics to win, then
that's a little different.
Have hell rain down.
Yeah, that's a little different. That's a little different.
But the Bulls don't have rivals. The Bucks, I guess. And then
no, not even.
Like,
maybe
not even the Bucks.
Maybe Detroit, maybe New York, but it's not real.
I mean, at this point, the only rival I see is basically
the fans versus the
Charlotte
ownership.
Hornets.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. I'm glad you mentioned that because we could finally move on to this topic. Okay. This week we're not including any Aska Horniak or any Mount Hornsmore because we had stated earlier on in the life of this podcast that we were going to bring this up one day, and that day finally came. And I have a feeling we're going to spend a bit of time on this question, but it's the very first installment of a segment I call the bullpen hot take question of the podcast. And it's where I come up with a critical thinking question that is kind of a hot take or a devil's advocate question, so to speak. I ask my co-hosts and we'll see what they say. But for this week's question, it is, gentlemen, and I'll ask you guys to remain semi-respectable and maintain yourself when I ask this. And I know you're going to have opinions, and I know I'm going to boil a lot of Bulls fans' blood when I ask this question. But let's put our best foot forward as I ask, gentlemen, is Jerry Reinsdorf a good owner? I'll let you guys answer, and then I'll answer myself. Go right ahead.
No. The answer is no. He's not a good owner.
What's your reasoning?
Look at the team. Look at he's not a good owner. I don't
Look
like
at the successful sellout teams for 30 plus years.
Well, that's just the fans being. I'm sorry, that's just the fans being stupid.
But
I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I think a lot of the revenue for tickets wise is like businesses. You know how like you go to games with like customers or vendors or whatever, and you talk business. Some of the tickets I know for sure are from like companies just handing out tickets because like an employee won some tickets or something. But yeah, I think he's a bad owner because he's cheap. He refuses to go over the luxury tax unless we build a championship roster, which we can't do because look at the team. He's bad for the Sox as well. Worst team in MLB history. He wants to build doesn't he want to build a new stadium for the Sox, but wants the city to pay for it?
He petitioned for it. That quickly fell through. That was very.
I just think
dismissed.
He's cheap, and I just don't think he really. Sure the fans buy the tickets, and we're always like in the top 5 for attendance and all that jazz. But I mean, if anything, that shows that we're sticking with this team through the good and the bad times, and he's just trying to make his money back on the investment. I think that's pretty much all it is. He doesn't truly care about what us, the fans, want out of a championship contending team.
Dan Gracie, you are building up my house right now. I love it. I love that you're touching on all this. Oh, I can't wait. But before I go, Scotty B, is he a good owner?
It depends which way you're looking at it. As a business owner, I think yes, he is, because he is making a lot of money. He understands what it takes to get people to come to the games. We've talked about it before. He is looking for ways to make money as easy as possible. Derrick Rose night. Didn't retire his jersey that night, but was retiring it next year, double downing on the same thing. He is getting sellouts every year. He is top 5 the Bulls are top 5 in attendance every year. Jerry knows how to make money. If you're going from a team success standpoint, we go to the plan. He gets enough people to want to watch and be invested and go to the games at the end of the year that we go to the play-in games and we lose. We're never in the luxury tax. We are close to it, so it shows that we are trying. But that's a very top-heavy luxury part of our thing. If you're looking for team success about how the team's doing, no, he's a terrible owner. He's one of the worst owners in sports, because there's a reason people don't want to come to the teams. Just going off the Sox, they are so behind in analytics and like training and all that kind of stuff that they are voted one of the worst franchises in sports by players and coaches. Like, there's a reason people don't want to go there. And there's a reason why all these players fail as soon as they come up, or they're rushed up. This is just baseball. They're just like, they don't invest enough into the actual team. Like, I'm just looking at like owners that actually care about like team success and not just making money because they have money. Like, how much money is Steve Ballmer putting into the Clippers?
Yeah.
Like,
Fuck time.
he cares. He has enough money that he doesn't give a fuck, that he's just like, hey, I just want the team I love to have as much as possible. How much did Mark Cuban care about the Mavericks?
Thank you.
Fucked up.
Oh, I'm so glad you're
How
mentioning
much-
these points.
Like, the Rams, the LA Rams, they built a brand new stadium that was all privately funded because they care about the team. That's not what Jerry is. Jerry is, I care about how much money I can make and how little investment I have to do to make it okay. And so the answer to your question is yes and no from two different sides.
That's fair. That's fair.
How about overall?
Overall,
Yes.
is he a good owner? For the sport, no. For himself, yes.
Okay.
There you go. I like that.
Very, very, very good arguments. I'm glad that very good. I basically you reinforced a lot of the points I said. So let me break it down to you. We'll go back to the root of the questions. Is Jerry Reinsdorf a good answer? Or a good owner? My answer happens to be yes. The man's a phenomenal owner. Okay. But I chalk it up to kind of like what Scott alluded to in the game of ownership. Now, a lot of fans view the sport on a spectator level to where they just want success. They want it now. Ownership sucks because they're not giving us what they want. Well, guess what? Owning a basketball team, owning a sports team, owning anything is not about always giving people what they want. It's about a business. Now, there's owners in the league who are strictly business minded, and there's owners in the league that are fans first minded. Shout out Fans First Sport Network. Now, the fans first ownership, I'm going to include your Mark Cubans. I'm going to include now your Steve Ballmers. And I'll even throw the Lakers in there because
The
those
new
three-
Suns
those-
owner.
Yeah, I was gonna
The
say
new
would
Suns
you throw
owner.
the Suns owner?
Yeah, what
No
is
Sunners,
they
yeah.
brought the prices down. Everything's like $2
Yes.
now at the
Oh
concession
yeah,
stands.
love that. That's
Yes.
awesome.
The Falcons do the same thing.
Yeah. But what do all those players, what do all those owners have in common? They all want success for the team. Are they sacrificing a little bit of profit in the process of doing so? Absolutely. Absolutely. But at the same time, these are the owners that don't care. Okay. But again, Steve Ballmer on the Clippers, the owner of the new owner of the Suns, whatever his name is, I apologize, I don't know it offhand. What do they have in common? They don't have a championship there. Okay. So are they good owners? Maybe. They're marching towards the right direction. But if he's making money and keeping fans happy, he's succeeding in a fans first ownership mindset. Now, let's travel 2,000 miles the other way to the beautiful windy city of Chicago, where Jerry Reinsdorf is not a fans first minded owner. He is strictly a business minded ownership. Okay. You see that with inflated ticket prices, inflated concessions. Okay. How do I put it? The frugalness when it comes to personnel, the frugalness when it comes to training staff, the frugalness when it comes to players. Okay. But he doesn't care. You know why he doesn't care? Because he's making billions of dollars every year, regardless of if your team is garbage or not. Okay. You could have a team full of John Lucas III's on the team, but guess what? you're still going to pay $200 to sit in the 100 levels and watch that team lose. You know why? Because the Chicago Bulls are such a historic franchise that every single person who migrates or comes or visits to Chicago is going to want to buy a ticket because they want to sit in the seats that other fans have seen when Michael Jordan ruled the NBA. Okay. So is Jerry Reinsdorf a good owner? He absolutely is, because with a lot of pressure, a lot of owners could fumble the bag on this one. Okay. But Jerry Reinsdorf has managed to stay the owner of the Chicago Bulls for 40 years this year, 40 years. And in that 40 year, go from the peak of the mountain to the depths of the valley as far as success of the overall team. Okay. So if I'm Jerry Reinsdorf and I have a subpar team like the Bulls right now, where we're in kind of that limbo area, what's my motivation to take out my pocketbook and spend money on a player that's just going to eat into my profit? Zero. But now, accordingly, you bring me back to the 2010s and the 1990s, where you give me Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, where we're top of the conference. Everyone kind of starting to hint towards us as being the favorite to win something. Now I'm going to be like, you know what? Here's my checkbook. Do what you have to do to get it done, because the payday that you get from winning a championship is so lucrative. And what does it do? It reignites the fans' interest in the actual team itself, thus getting more attendance, waiting lists on season tickets. Now we can drive the price of season tickets up. We can drive the price of actual tickets up. Okay. But until that day comes, no, you're not getting we're not signing your top free agent. We're not signing the best coach free agent there is. You're going to have subpar GMs, and we're just going to deal with it. And if there happens to be an anomaly on the way, it's purely because it happened, not because it was planned. So, moral of the story is he a good owner? He is an excellent business owner. He is a terrible fans first owner. Jerry Reinsdorf does not care about the fans. He cares about the business. And if it's working, it's working. If we have someone to fault, it's ourselves. Stop going to the games. Stop buying the merch. Stop watching the channel. And you'll see how long it takes for him to say, yeah, well, no, watch this channel. And you'll see how fast that an owner will be like, well, there goes all my money. I have to do something. I hate to say it, but like, Scott, who's the owner of the Blackhawks that bought it and then they won the very next year?
You're talking about the Wirtz family? I think the dad died, and
was it
Rocky
like Scotty
took over.
Bowman?
No, Scotty Bowman
Rocky.
was
Okay.
he was like the GM.
Okay.
But
so
that was the thing. The guy was so cheap and did not want to put the Blackhawks weren't on TV till like the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Because he did not care enough, and he didn't want to pay any. He didn't want to put everything into the structure to put it in. So yeah, and once they started putting money into the team, they got two top players, like you said. They got Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews. Guess what? They started building around him because you have generational talent. That's when they started caring. And right now, no one cares about the Blackhawks. They're terrible. They do have a generational player. Watch in 2-3 years. You're going to start seeing people start watching the Blackhawks again because they have a generational talent.
Yep. And then they just have the second overall pick this year too.
Yeah, they have so much young talent that's in the minor leagues or still in juniors or college that will be playing in 3 years.
Perfect. And then we just mentioned it. So these, as a whole, the Chicago franchises we know are awful, to say the least. But taking it back to the last major franchises and major sports, I don't mean to segregate to put one sport above another, but the major sports, football, basketball, baseball, okay, the last two successful franchises in Chicago were the Blackhawks and the Cubs. What do those two teams have in common? And that's a transition in ownership. I'm not throwing up like Cottonmouth Kings over here.
Well, I
what-
was just thinking. I think that the Chicago Fire are doing pretty good too. I work with the guy
they might.
No, they're not. Okay.
No.
I work
They're
with the
doing
guy
very well
who's into soccer.
because is he a big fan?
Yeah, he's a
Is he a
soccer
big fan?
Yeah.
Tell him to start buying season tickets because there's a shot that they get Neymar. And if I mean it may not happen, but
I think
if he gets
he
season
asked if he
tickets,
should.
I would. I'm actually
he asked me, and
thinking about it.
I just told him I don't know anything about soccer at all. So
The Fire were the worst team in the league last year.
Yeah, they weren't very good, but and that's why I think all this Neymar talk it's like a last ditch effort to help out.
Yeah, if they can get Neymar, they would be a
I
lot better.
Yeah. But again, throwing it back, what do those two teams, the Cubs and the Blackhawks, have in common? A transition in ownership. They finally got an owner that, even though it's temporary, they wanted to win a championship. They knew that the drought was so terrible that if they stepped in and they won a championship and threw a bunch of money at their franchise initially and get that success, they could take a step back later on and kind of coast. Okay. So in conclusion, if the Chicago Bulls franchise ever wants to win a championship again, we either need to draft a generational talent like a Derrick Rose or Michael Jordan, or we'd have to have Jerry Reinsdorf sell the team to an owner whose first mindset is, I will stop at nothing and spend whatever I have to spend.
That's the one
to win. And that's the only, that's what most everybody wants to happen because they're sick and tired of seeing Jerry Reinsdorf. But then and only then will you see success as far as winning success. Until that point, the only success that's happening in Chicago is you're putting money in Jerry's pocket. He could probably put the price of tickets $300-$400 and you'll still go to the games.
Still gonna go.
You will still go to the games. He could charge $300 for a jersey. You're still going to buy a jersey. So is he topping it all off? Is he a good owner? Yeah. Does it suck having him as an owner? Yes.
Is he a good owner, or are we too loyal as Bulls fans?
Well, here's the thing. I'll piggyback off that. You can be a loyal fan and not buy any merch. No one says.
I mean, true.
No one defines,
that's
you know what I mean.
That's what
When was
I
the last
do
time you bought anything Bulls, really, like actually Bulls licensed merch?
from like the Bulls. Yeah, from the Bulls. I can't remember the last time I did that.
Yeah.
But I'm just like
Sal's the only one giving Jerry money. Like,
I did not
That's
give
out.
Jerry a penny. All the games I went to were gifts.
okay, you bought
I did,
concessions.
I did. I can't.
Calling
Okay,
you out.
we were running late for the game. We were running late for the game, and
yeah.
we wanted to go to Au Cheval, which, if you guys have never been to Au Cheval, go to Au Cheval, best burger place ever. Oh, it'll change your life how good this burger is. But
Have you been to the Billy Goat Tavern?
yeah, it's okay. It's
It's
okay.
decent,
It's
but
good.
I go there for the
It's
history.
a burger.
Yeah.
Go to Au Cheval and just I don't know how to put it into words. Just go. Now.
Where is it?
Is it Chicago? It's actually right down the street from the Night Center. Okay, well, there's Au Cheval and Small Cheval. It's more or less the same thing. Small Cheval is probably your best bet unless you want to sit and wait in line. But phenomenal.
I was just thinking about sitting in line.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, I did give him concessions. I was in the merch store like a normal fan. And I'm like, oh, should I buy this? Should I buy this? But I'm like, no. But anyway, you don't need to buy stuff. You don't need to go to the games. You don't need to give money back to the organization to be a loyal fan. I am a loyal fan to the Chicago Bears, as terrible as they are. I've never been to a Bears game. I've never bought a Bulls Bears jersey. I still consider myself a loyal fan.
That's fair. That's fair.
Once we get more fans that stay home, don't go to the games, and truly stick it to the ownership as far as we're done with your shit. We want success.
I mean,
that's when we'll get it.
That's honestly, I do agree with you. And I've been hearing like murmurs throughout, I don't know, the last like 5 years of Bulls fans should stop watching games, stop going to the games, stop buying merch. Like, the whole like they put up billboards for Garpax to be fired. We should do that for Jerry as well. Like, all right, I see all this talk. Where the fuck is it? Where is it?
Yeah, exactly. But you know what else? What the other problem lies is it's not just Bulls fans buying Bulls merch. It's not just Bulls fans buying Bulls tickets. International fans, because the Bulls are an international brand, thanks to the 90s Bulls and Jordan movement, they're the one buying the products. They're going to the games. So until they stop going,
like if you're in Illinois and you go to like, then you should stop going to the game. Like if the Illinoisans stop going to games, the attendance will. Chicagoans, Illinoisans, whatever, we're one big happy family.
Or two of the same, yeah.
Yeah. As long as we see that dip in attendance go from top 5 to like, I don't know, like 10 to 15 or something, he'll take notice of that. The international fans, of course, they're going to go to the game, regardless of the team's good or bad. Like, they might not even know what's actually happening with the team itself. They just want, like you said earlier, they just want to see this historic team that like Derrick Rose has been a part of, Scottie Pippen, his bum ass, has been a part of, Michael Jordan, Boozer, Noah, So yeah, they want to see the internet, like the historic experience of the United Center.
It's a vicious cycle.
It is a vicious cycle.
It's a vicious cycle. So anyway, that was our bullpen podcast. We made it through it. It was a rough one, but we made it through it. And now that we've addressed all that, we hope we answered any and every question you have about what direction this team is going in. So I look forward to those. I want to throw those in every once in a while. I much prefer interacting with the fans and getting fan based questions, but I feel like this question, in lieu of our recent horribleness, I'll just say it was absolutely necessary. But fellas, now that we're all depressed and sad that I revealed the truth about the franchise, any last words? I guess poor choice of words, but any last words before we leave here? Scotty B.
Yeah, I listened to all those songs that Dan listed by Linkin Park after the episode. I think he nailed my list pretty well. So
he did. Yeah,
grew up a Linkin Park fan.
Yes, he even mentioned one at the beginning of the cast.
Do you notice that like minivan drivers are either insane, like going fast as shit, or just the slowest people on the road and don't know how to drive at all? Like, that's something I just noticed on my drive home. I just notice things on my drive home, and then I get either angry or happy about it. And then I'm just like, I should bring that up on the podcast. And then I always forget.
I'm going to have to take that into consideration now next time I drive. My car does all the driving for me now. I don't know.
Minivan drivers, it's either like I don't want to say this, but I'm going to. Like, it's either like a bad mom that has no control over her kids and just like swerving all over the road, driving like a fucking idiot, or it's this mom that has her shit together, got the kids in the back doing their thing, and just focused on driving. I need to get to this place. I'm gonna go and get to this place as fast and as safe as possible. So it's one or the other. I don't know.
Yeah, basically. As far as for me, what do I have here? As many as you know, this is kind of an important message. As many of you guys know, the United States has banned TikTok. I'm sure you guys are now crying, whatever, sulking, glad, happy, whatever, many emotions. But as many as you know, we do put out TikToks, but not to fear.
We do have our YouTube channels that we're going to continue to be posting shorts to, so you'll never miss a quality Horns Over Hoop short. And we're also reaching out into the Instagram world. I'm not too good at Instagram. I'm sorry. So that's why I really haven't been putting too much attention to it. I wasn't really good at Instagram either, or I'm sorry, at TikTok either, which is why when they shut down, I wasn't even upset. I was more upset that they banned CapCut. Yeah, I didn't care. Like, not that I didn't care about our followers.
They banned Marvel's Snap, the card game, because it's owned by ByteDance, and I got mad about that.
Yeah, yeah. That's not to say I didn't care about the fans. Like, yeah, obviously, I did interact with a lot of people on TikTok that commented on our stuff, but I didn't know how to use it, so I feel like I wasn't utilizing it properly. But what I was pissed about was that company you just named, who owns TikTok, also owns CapCut. So when they shut down TikTok, they shut down CapCut. Okay. 2 or 3 months after I purchased a year subscription to CapCut Pro, they shut it down, making it unusable. So you can see why I'm furious. So I have to now go shopping for another video editing platform. So if you have any suggestions, throw it in the comment section down below. You'd be doing me a solid. Bear in mind, we are an amateur podcast. I do not have the funds to purchase any cinematic type of editors by any stretch of the imagination. But as far as anything else, I got nothing. Just keep your head up, Bulls fans. Hang in there. We're going through the dark ages, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel. If we got to suck before we win,
we just got to find that end of the tunnel. It's just pure darkness.
I'm glad you said that, because I just said you have to suck before you win, which is very provocative. I apologize. But anyway, no matter how terrible our team is, our Bulls fans, our Horniacs are second to none. We love each and every one of you guys. But until next time, we encourage our Bulls fans and our Horniacs to see red and go Bulls. Good night, everybody.